This week been pretty busy, crazy, I guess. Didn't have much home tour, didn't show much of a home either. But however, I did kept up with the customer and client and checked it in regularly. And with a lot of house moving, I was able to manage to get the schedule done in time. I was able to put everything, keep it in mind with the scheduling, where normally I move a house from 8 to 11, but I was able to break down every single hour chunk by chunk. So 3 hour been broken down to 1 hour per day. So I make sure I don't ruin my whole entire day of a schedule. And having execution along with this is super important because if I miss the schedule on one day, then a lot of stuff afterward would have not been performed. And since I got to the new play, I kind of begin to recognize and realizing having more of your own space and time, and then just sit around, maybe just sit down, simply have something generated in mind. It brings in so much more creativity, and recognizing the power of knowledge, value you get out of from reading book or from what a person say is so much more than you would expect to receive. Because if you often just consume the stuff that's like being said on YouTube or like from a book, but then you don't add in your own perspective, you don't look at it from a different point of view, you won't get much out of it. Because the whole point of someone writing a book and maybe making a YouTube video or providing some sort of value, they're trying to highlight a certain value that they want to tell you from their experience and then build onto it. And it's so important that you use someone else's cases and put it into your rather than using specifically directly their case and then get into that case scenario. So I've been reading a lot of day trading attention lately and slowly recognizing, understanding how everything actually function and how our attention are being paid, like where your vision are focusing on, because simply understanding these knowledges give me another um, different perspective. For example, when making maybe Instagram video or home tour, I begin realize I could switch up different strategy and try out different new stuff because whenever you're feeling a bit lost in a certain thing, maybe you take a break from it and maybe you go back to it. If you're still lost, maybe you try to switch up your strategy a little, but make sure you don't leave that industry or that thing that you're doing. Still surround that thing that what you're trying to do. For example, I'm still focusing on real estate. It's just that I didn't show much of a home tour this week on the Instagram. Rather, I focused on posting more of informational and information that could be debatable, which led to so much more extra attention and reach that I was able to obtain and get. Because there is a lot of different thing that we try and then we'll get results that we wouldn't expect, and then we learn from that point of view, and you will have another whole different perspective from it as well. Because a lot of time stuff that we don't try, we won't know the result, because there's just a lot of prediction and then assumption as well. Just like what we learn in college, it's just a lot of theory and assumption and prediction and analytic. And to truly use what you learn, you have to put it in practice. And simply putting it in practice, you gotta have strong execution, because there's always an opportunity cost and the risk and the trade-off. But if you're not willing to take the risk, or if you're not willing to go for the trade-off, you won't know what's on the other side. And learning from the other side and the other end, maybe it might have been a mistake, or it might have been a successful story that you made and done. It's always so much more value to add to your own personal experience. And then with all your personal experience, that's what shaped the world. Because the amount of knowledge you get is the amount of things you see and understand. For example, if I never saw a high-rise building and my first time seeing it, I wouldn't know what it is if I've been living around all my life around maybe farm or single family home, right? But what's so great about nowadays, you got internet. You can learn so much knowledge throughout of it, and I don't understand why school or people are just not liking it sometimes. Like they're not letting you use it, kind of prohibit you from it. saying that it's a lot of false information. Well, although it is true that there is a lot of false information, but as you build up your knowledge and value along with your experience, you could kind of recognize what knowledge kind of fake, what value are not real, and then what truly will work for you. Because a simple value, even something that might have been fake, but someone could have took it in a positive way and turned out into something really positive. Or let me give you a good example. So a lot of people talk about stock market. Maybe that's what I'm most confident in, I guess, marketing and stock market to talk about. So people often post up about a stock market, maybe for a certain stock. Recently, Nvidia is super popular. Everyone is talking about it. However, there are some positive sides that are maybe bullish on it because there is so much demand in the AI technology in the sector. However, there's some people that are bearish about it. It's just like an AI bubble, they think. It's just like the dot-com bubble, just like the housing market. It's been rising crazily. So there's always two side point of view, and you won't know which answer is correct. And in order to really learn from it, I suggest maybe participating in it, maybe learning from it, not like specifically directly buying the stock, but what you could do, you just join the conversation and learn from it. And maybe what if one day it goes skyrocket, and then if you were thinking that it was going to be bearish, then you will learn from that perspective, from that point of view. You will look back at that time. Why did that person say that? And then you go through it, you break down every single detail, and you learn from it. So the internet just brings everything together in a place, in a digital world that you could just look for easily. And we just have to start utilizing so much resource around us. For example, when finding houses or places, where you look for internet, right? Now that everything is surrounded by internet, but internet doesn't bring you the real experience. So by going in the real world, doing tangible stuff, or go approach anything that builds up your experience and value, that's what's gonna help you shape what you see on the internet as well. Because what some of the stuff on the internet might not be real, but you've seen it in real life. So you will recognize it and identify it and know what the reason behind it. And you know what's the coolest thing? Is learning something from the internet first and then go get to see it in real life and experience it. So before you travel, you most likely gonna look online and see the internet stuff about the location, what's fun there, what are the amenity, what are the attraction that you could do, and then you actually go through it and then see if it's really like what people say, or if there's another way around. You go first approach and then go to attraction, amenity, go travel, have all the fun first, and then you go back and look at internet to see how people comment on this location compared to your view. Like there is so much more creative small stuff that we can pay attention to, and then you could learn so much from it, which we kind of not recognizing in regular life. Because right now everything is going in such a fast pace. You only got 3 seconds in a video to capture someone's attention. With everything in a fast pace in the world, taking advantage and learning from the small detail will really help you build up all your sense, knowledge, and value and experience. And simply this week, learn so much more by focusing on a lot of small detail, having strong execution, among with planning ahead of time. So you have structure of anything that you're gonna do. Always keep in mind, have plan A, plan B, plan C, and keep searching on the internet, keep learning more. I'll catch you guys on the next one.